Hello, everyone, and welcome to the On Air podcast with your hosts, Stephen Hudson, Paul O'Flaherty, and David Gall. The On Air podcast is the official podcast for Geek Dimensions and everyone living a geek's life. Hello, everybody. It's Stephen Hudson from Geek Dimensions On Air podcast, and we're back for another episode with my good friends Paul O'Flaherty and David Gall, who looks like he's enjoying or he's imbibing in something nice and liquor wise. What is it, Dave? David, come on, share.
It is Bell's Two Hearted Ale, brewed in, I believe, Michigan, but just a good IPA.
Oh,
we're drinking that last week. Get original.
No, he was drinking.
It was Gentleman Jack last week.
Gentleman Jack.
It was the week before then, because
it probably was.
The Two Hearted Ale being a Doctor Who reference.
Yeah. Anyway, Paul, how are you doing this week? What you been up to?
Work, and more work. Some rather interesting. Well, lots and lots of sort of client work, some web development, a couple of new projects. Interesting one on reputation management that is involving information suppression is probably the best way to state it.
Oh, getting a
secret.
Little on the dirty side, are we?
Well, obviously, it's my client's work, so I can't obviously
talk about it. Yes,
all that much. But it's proving to be a rather interesting sort of project in terms of hiding stuff in plain sight on the internet that is there, but they don't want seen. You know what I mean?
So there's search results that are a little less than ideal. We need to make sure people don't see.
Yeah, so it's some pretty interesting work.
That is cool.
So other than slamming Diablo 3, Reapers of Soul, David, what have you been doing this week? Because I know you've been killing Diablo.
Well, playing a little Diablo, a little work, a little bit of research into a Node.js project for a client who wants to basically just have a real-time dashboard for their in-field technicians. So a little bit of that. That's it.
Yeah. Me, all I've been doing is basically writing and playing Diablo. It's just been kind of that week. Nothing too fantastic.
I think of worse things.
What's that?
I can think of worse things.
Yes, but unfortunately, none of us, I think, are as lucky as Valve employees. Now, who put this in the show notes? Was this you, David?
It was.
Oh, this is old news.
It was old news because there's I know Gabe Newell's big into the peopleware kind of management style, but it's basically just flat management. I don't know. I like their employee it's just a link to their handbook. It's got some of that Valve humor in it and some funny little diagrams and stuff and kind of their style, but it seems like a cool place to work.
Yeah, no, this is the 2012 handbook. I mean, this story surfaced originally, I think, somewhere around 2010, 2011. I remember us talking about it on a podcast way back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought it looked familiar, but it was.
But you know what? For those of you who haven't seen it, it really is sort of, from a geeky perspective, it's definitely well worth following the link and downloading the PDF and having a good old sort of.
But I love David's explanation of the link. Valve's employee handbook, instant employee boner.
That's pretty much it.
And as Paul raises his eyebrows and
I'm just going to sit here and shake my head.
I think my favorite part is the mobile desks. So you kind of move to whatever project you feel you need to be working on and make yourself useful.
Yeah, that's very cool ideas in here, like in terms of how they organize themselves. And
I do that here.
Digitally, I guess we're all on rolling desks, but their floor plan's pretty cool. It's just a big open space that you ride around in and on your little Razor scooter.
Do you think
after your employee massage and laundry service?
Do you think they'll watch any Fire TV?
Really?
No?
Really?
Okay, it was a lame intro. I'm sorry.
All right, this is like $99 for something that's yet another set-top box.
But he can play games.
Kinda. It can play Android games.
Yeah. Well, that.
Because you really want to play Android games on your 60-inch TV.
I don't know. In my experience, cell phone games generally have one purpose, and that's on the toilet. But other than that, I don't really get it. I don't get mobile gaming, and I don't know if I really want a controller to play.
Just get this device, right? Chromecast exists. This is a big version of Chromecast. Okay, there's nothing that it can't do that you can't do with Chromecast, because you can cast your stuff on your Android to the Chromecast. So those games that you're playing on your Android,
you can play them on
your 60-inch damn screen.
So is this
a third of the price?
Is this a hit or a miss?
In terms of sales or usefulness? In usefulness, it's a complete miss.
Okay.
In sales, it's an Amazon product. People like Amazon products. It's an attractive price point for someone who doesn't know that the Chromecast exists, because right now the Chromecast is kind of niche. I mean, it really hasn't completely opened up to the world of development. And so there's not a whole lot of, local content streaming. You're kind of stuck with the online libraries, which is good for most people if they knew about it. I think if somebody like Netflix started advertising a Chromecast-like device, that it would sell like hotcakes. But because it's Google, it's kind of more of an experiment than it is a mass-produced product. I don't know.
I think this will sell purely because it's Amazon, and every single Amazon Prime user that there are millions and millions and millions of will see it as soon as they log in on their laptop, and they'll be like, oh yeah, now I can watch all my Amazon Prime stuff on the TV, and it's only $99. Okay, and I'll even get free 2-day shipping. So, I mean, that's where the sale will come from. They will sell a crap ton of these things, but for no real reason. For no this thing will succeed, but for no technical reason.
The same argument was probably said when they launched their tablets. Like, who's going to buy a Kindle book, or who's going to buy a Fire tablet?
Anybody who had a Kindle prior to them actually launching a tablet, would have been like, whoa, yeah. Because Amazon makes, outside of their peripherals, they make good hardware. Their stuff is nice. The original Kindle was nice. The Kindle with the pad was nice. The Paperwhite is very nice. The Kindle Fire and the Fire XD is a nice tablet to hold. They make good stuff outside of their peripherals, but it'll sell. It'll sell like hotcakes. It'll be one of those things that's popular for no technical reason, just because it's released by Amazon, and it'll be an easy sort of gateway for all those people with Amazon Prime to stream the stuff to their movies. But what it really has me pissed off about is, why the hell did we all go out and buy smart TVs last year and the year before, only to have all the functionality now coming out in like fucking Chromecast and Amazon boxes that all plug into the USB port?
Yeah, I know.
Is this the end of the smart TV in that sense?
That's something I never really understood is why somebody like Amazon or Google didn't form partnerships with TV monitor manufacturers to provide the interfaces within their televisions. Why are we having to have a separate?
Big players like Samsung wouldn't go aboard with that, because they want to
have their own interface. Sure, and they can. I think I find that the smart TV interfaces are they're very hit and miss, mostly miss, and it's difficult to get updates, and it's kind of a process. If you ever wanted to upgrade the firmware on a TV, it's it's not exactly as intuitive as plugging in a Chromecast and it saying, hey, I need to update or download this app. Which is why Amazon products they've always been about convenience. And this is just kind of another example of just something that's super convenient for people. I mean, there are other alternatives, but it's just easy.
My TV does that. Sorry, hate to say it. It updates in the background and it tells you there's the update is ready. Hit now to run it. Or
you have a nice TV.
How many bucks did that set you back? Oh, all All right, here's one. Like I'm sorry, this one is really getting my goat, and this seeming blindness of everything is going to be supporting Oculus Rift, or is the next big thing that is going to forever change our world. Right now, my point of view, it's fucking bullshit. Pure and simple. It's just, I'm sorry, Hootsuite announced Oculus Rift integration, or Facebook buying Oculus Rift. Like, what the flying fuck is this shit about? It makes no sense.
I don't know who these people are.
Are we sure that the Hootsuite Oculus Rift integration was not just an April 1st joke? It is April now.
I don't believe it was.
It was posted March 11th, so I would definitely say no. I've never heard of Hootsuite, but that could be out of my own ignorance, or it could be that it's kind of piggyback.
Is a big major Twitter client who also incorporates Facebook.
It's not a Twitter client on its own. It is a complete social media management platform.
Yeah.
Basically hook everything into it, from Google Plus to Facebook to Twitter.
It's got a plug-in architecture.
As many accounts as you need. Basically, it supports everything, right down to YouTube, Tumblr, WordPress, the whole lot. And you manage everything then from the one environment, and you can break things out into teams. You can have, team management. It's a complete social media management dashboard. It's the one that I use for managing all my clients from one interface.
And based on that description, it sounds like VR would make that a lot more cumbersome than it needs to be.
VR would make it entirely cumbersome.
It's pointless. Absolutely pointless. It's like this dick, Epic Games founder Tim Sweeney, said to Polygon, virtual reality is a technology that I think will completely change the world. I think it's going to be a bigger phenomenon than smartphones. Tim, I got a suggestion for you. Shut the fuck up.
No, it will be.
No, it won't be.
And maybe if it's that easy.
For another 40 years.
Look,
they were saying this when Lawnmower Man came out back in the early 90s. Okay? VR is like the
it's a wet dream. It's a geek's wet dream that will never happen.
And it will happen eventually. It's a technology thing, and it will happen eventually. It's just that it's just not there, and it won't be there for a long time yet.
Not when you got stupid thing ideas like Hootsuite supporting it, or Minecraft pulling support, or what's the guy with Star Citizen? He was going to support. He was thinking with supporting it. Give me
another $1 million.
Yeah, for another $1 million, I'll support. Let's not even go there.
Dude, I'll support anything if you give me $1 million.
I don't understand what this fascination is with such a pointless implementation is what everybody's trying to do with it.
That's the thing. Go ahead.
No, you first. Go on.
Well, I was going to say it kind of started off as a gaming novelty. Like it was going to be cool because we used to play with it in arcades and shoot down aircraft with AA guns with the little helmet on. And, it kind of, I think the idea originally, and Oculus presented it originally as an addition for immersive gameplay, mostly in simulations where you'd be seated like a flight sim or a racing sim. And in that case, it has a purpose. But now it's just, everybody wants to piggyback on that, and they want to add it to a social media platform, or the Navy wanted to mess around with it for some kind of VR crap that they needed to do. But it's kind of losing sight. It was really just a gaming toy, not really anything more than that. But I think it just kind of exploded, and now people are looking for other uses for it.
Look, there's a lot to be said for the fact that people get very, very immersed in video games sometimes, right? Especially in, games of your Skyrim ilk. Now, if you can basically provide an environment that is completely immersive, what real gamer wouldn't want that? You know what I mean? And it's sort of it is this long-standing dream that I want to be in the game. I don't want to control the avatar. I want to be the avatar, right? it's like the holy grail of gaming, really, in that sense, especially in terms of 3D gaming. It is the holy grail of it, and it will always be there until we do it. But the problem is that everything that we have that is dealing with VR is all based around your head, and it is ignoring 90% of your body. But considering 90% of the feedback that you register at any given moment is coming from the rest of your body, that's why it's never truly immersive, and it'll never truly be there until they figure all that out. So we're a long way away from it yet. And, when they do figure it out, then I could see it being a problem. But I doubt it's going to be done at that point. When they do figure it out, I doubt it's going to be done by, big clunky helmets and, bodysuits with haptic feedback built all over them. It's going to be like, something that communicates directly with your brainwaves.
I would prefer all this effort going to something like holographic displays. That, to me, makes more sense than virtual reality.
Look, they couldn't even get that down in Star Wars. I mean, seriously.
Honestly, if I could choose one tech that still to this day sucks, is batteries. Batteries have sucked for the longest time, and they still suck. And all new laptops, it doesn't matter how efficient we get with our chipsets, it's just not going to cut it if we don't have the battery or the juice to back it up.
I'd like to see some like major players emerge in just battery technology. It's like, you remember back in the day when everybody was building their own rig and everybody was competing. Oh, I've got the latest Intel chip. Oh, I've got the latest AMD chip. Oh, I've got this graphic card. I want that sort of excitement around batteries. Dude, you should see the battery that I've got, man. See this little thing? Yeah, my laptop will run for 10 hours with it, dude. Yours, yeah.
That's why I always get a kick out of when people talk about, being a part of the mobile device generation. You're not mobile. At some point, you got to tie yourself down to charge batteries. And it's just...
There's over-the-air charging. I mean, if we could make that ubiquitous.
Oh, it is not... I had a Nexus 5 for a time, and... of course, it does have wireless charging. Wireless charging is slow. It has to be positioned exactly on that wireless charger. And of course, it doesn't work through a case. So I've got to take off my case and put my Nexus on it and then charge it. And eventually, it's just easier right now to just plug it in. Yeah, until my entire table is like that or something, it's not going to fly.
Yeah, it's still in its infancy, but it could come.
I definitely agree, though. The one thing that is proving to be a real bottleneck for true mobility and a wireless world is the batteries. We definitely need some serious battery technology upgrades.
Especially with wearables kind of coming into their own when they do. And that's such a douchey term for it. But whatever that class of gizmo is, we're going to need batteries.
Oh, we just lost.
Did we lose one?
Yeah, we lost Paul.
I love the look on his face right now.
No, but I would love to have a battery. Like, I've got the Nexus 4, and I love this phone, but I cannot go a full day without it having to be charged. And to me, that's not good enough.
No, and especially if you're running apps or you're streaming video on standby, they're okay. But as soon as you want to do something simple as use your phone, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's every phone. I mean, every manufacturer will tout battery life that'll be, 1, 2, 3 hours more than the competition, but really they're all about on the same page.
Yeah, I think they fudge those numbers about as much as Samsung fudges its benchmarks.
Oh, no kidding. Apple's one of the worst offenders of that. They said that MacBook Pro lasts for 15 hours, and that's, maybe with a Safari window open, and then you're just sitting there, but there's no real use numbers that are...
Get people to move beyond the aesthetics of mobile phones and actually build mobile phones that take advantage of the environment that they're in. Okay? There's absolutely no reason why you can't have a solar panel, the back of your phone be solar. Okay? Be absorbing as it goes along. there's absolutely no reason why you can't have some form of kinetic technology in there as well for charging and movement. Easy to do, relatively easy to do if we could get past the whole kinetic side of it, you know?
Absolutely.
Sorry, not the whole kinetic side of it, the whole aesthetic side of it, you know?
It has to be sexy to sell.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really wanted a phone that would basically stay charged, you know, you walk into a place, you want to put it down, you know, it can have its wireless charging going. It can be charging off kinetic energy when it's in your pocket. You can put it down on a windowsill when you walk into a room, and you know, it mightn't provide a full charge, but it's always keeping you somewhat topped up with the solar or whatever. There's no reason why this can't be happening. There's no technical reason why this can't be happening beyond our need for. And this is what gets me, gentlemen. We all go out, we get these nice, sexy phones, and then we cover them in horrible pieces of fucking plastic that completely remove the aesthetic value of it. Oh. So why even bother?
I'm one of the worst offenders on that one with the OtterBox. Yeah. The thing is just an absolute nightmare.
The OtterBox is like a chastity belt for your phone.
It really is.
Disgusting.
We got a show title, Chastity Belt for Your Phone. Anyway, okay, I can see you're excited, Paul, about this whole idea, but why in the God's name are you excited about Top Gun 2?
The greatest homoerotic action movie of all time, starring Tom Cruise, with perhaps the greatest guitar riff ever in an 80s movie, is getting a sequel.
Can I yawn now?
Tom Cruise is going to get back in the cockpit and chase drones.
Whoa. Sounds a lot like that bad Jamie Foxx movie, Stealth. That was terrible. Yeah. Same deal with it. But okay, so here, I guess this is something I didn't see, is what are they going to be flying? Previously, it was the F-14. Are they going to be going the F-35?
I think, honestly, Tom Cruise is just going to go out there on his ego.
Yeah, he's going to be flying Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
Faster than any F-35.
Yes. And about as close as he'd ever get to a woman in the show.
Take on Zuni Starship.
Jerry Bruckheimer hasn't actually said anything about what he's going to fly, but the script was actually originally done by, the whole thing was put together by Tony Scott, and it was kind of crashed then in 2012 because the guy committed suicide. But they're still trying to push ahead with this. So
it sounds like a Ghostbusters 3.
Or Jurassic Park, whenever that new Jurassic Park movie is coming out.
Yeah. No, there's nothing original.
I just wonder if they're going to bring back Goose. Oh, imagine what Val Kilmer would look like now in this thing.
Oh, God.
He has not aged well.
No, he has not aged well at all. Even the Expendables crew wouldn't want him in there. And there's some seriously sad-looking old men. Okay, one of the other things that happened this past couple of days, as a matter of fact, and it's blown up all over the web, is that Mozilla's CEO, Brendan H., has stepped down because of him.
That's amazing. What a silly thing to resign for. It's just such an odd story. And it happened so fast. Okay,
the background is he donated $1,000 to Prop 8. And that was the bill in California trying to outlaw gay marriage, whatever. When he got the job at Mozilla as their CEO, this came out shortly afterwards. I think it was only a matter of a couple of days that this fact surfaced. And instantly, the LBG, whatever what is it, the LBT or whatever, got up in arms that he was in such a position. Firefox developers got up in arms. Everybody got up in arms. And so he at one point said, no, I'm not going to step down. I'm going to do my job. But then he comes out today and he's resigning from his job as CEO.
Well, look, there's two ways to look at this story, right? One is that, the guy's got freedom of speech, right? He's got the right to his own political choices and what he wants to or does not want to believe in, and that's kind of fine. You can't really argue with that. But the other side of it is that he's heading Mozilla, which is a non-profit that has very specific guidelines and very specific goals about what it is and as an organization, and his politics did not align with the image that the nonprofit that Mozilla wants to portray as it being. And he lost his job over it, basically. He was pushed out, through a sheer act of force. And
I don't know.
It's not really a story. If he wasn't CEO of Mozilla, it wouldn't be a story, really.
No. And I think that shows, I don't know, that's kind of a scary thing to have happen. That a group of people, if you do have done something in your past that is basically your own private decision to do, can threaten your way of making a living because you don't necessarily agree with them, and you lose your job over it. I'm sorry, but that's kind of scary.
He didn't have to step down.
No, he didn't step. He was forced out.
Absolutely. They were definitely
a nice golden parachute. I'm sure he got a nice little package to walk out the door with, all the same. But that a single group of individuals can hold that much power over a man's job and his future income earning abilities can have that much power. That worries me. That scares me.
It's a lot like what happened with Chick-fil-A, except with the opposite end result, where Chick-fil-A's sales skyrocketed.
Aren't you arguing about any sort of religious sort of position in this country? I mean, that's why education is so fucked up in America. Because so many groups have so much lobbying power that has got nothing to do with education. But they want their agendas pushed.
Yeah, that's not right either. Not when it affects the future welfare of a country.
Yes, but what you're saying is that's not the bloody American way, Steve. No matter how much the rest of us despise it, that's not the American way. If I don't like what you stand for, it's my right to get you kicked out of your job, whether or not I'm right. And goddammit, you'll pay me money for it afterwards and thank me for it too. Come around and wash my floors, you will.
Okay, David, what's your reaction on this news?
Well, I try to distance myself from this kind of stuff because although Mozilla prides itself on being very open and friendly with all sorts of people in all sorts of walks of life, it's the fact that it was kind of dug up from something he said in 2000. It was like 2008. Yeah, 2008. It's just, I don't know, because they could have lost out on somebody who very well might have been great for Mozilla over something that honestly I think is kind of silly. And even though Mozilla publicly can't agree with what he says, I almost think releasing a statement would have been sufficient enough instead of tanking the guy.
Even if he had come out and said, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, this was done years ago, and I've had it." Like politicians do it all the time and get away with it. I've had a change of heart. I've seen the errors of my way.
Don't just get away for it. Politicians run for president on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, it's simple, right? Whether or not we agree with the guy's politics, Mozilla as an organization is being
manipulated,
slightly hypocritical. Mm-hmm. You have to, if you're either tolerant of other people's views or you're not. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that means that you, as a CEO, he should be judged on his merits as a CEO, not on the fact that he did something in the past. But I think the whole LGBT thing is still very emotional for a lot of people still. And whether you support it or not, and I'm fairly sure most of us here support it.
Yeah. I just think
you're not going to win friends and influence people and change people's minds about you. If you want to be treated equally, well, then you can't expect that equal treatment if your first reaction to somebody who didn't agree with you in the past is to get them fired.
And I think that tolerance has to go both ways,
yes,
including his views that they may not agree with, but to fire him, I don't know. That one doesn't seem
everybody has the right to be an asshole whether you agree with it or not. Okay? It's that simple. Everybody has the right to be an asshole.
The other big news out this past couple days, with it being the Build conference, Microsoft's Build conference, is we have a whole slew of Windows and Xbox and Windows Phone news. The one that makes me the happiest, because I was so hoping they would stick with it, is that Cortana is going to stick as the name for their Google Now or Siri-like application. They're staying with Cortana, and I think that is the smartest move they could have made.
It is pretty cool. I mean, especially with the generation of people that are going to be buying these products, if anyone buys this product, it is definitely a good name.
The Windows Phone? I was using
the Windows Phone.
Listen, if I had my choice right now to go between the Nexus 4 that I'm using or the Nokia 520 at $199 off contract, I'd probably go back to using a Windows Phone and not even think twice about it. And I like my Nexus, don't get me wrong. But I also like what Windows is doing as far as the mobile platform is concerned. The desktop, yeah, not so much. But they are looking, as we can see by the news, they're looking at changing that. Like what's that? The taskbar and start screen tweak.
Yay, let's appeal to the Luddites who can't figure out how to use a damn keyboard or use their mouse. Oh my God, something has changed in our user interface that has been there for 20 years. We can't adapt. We must go back because we cannot change. So let's keep everybody in a computing paradigm of 1985. Sorry, yes, I am referring to them bringing back the goddamn start menu. I mean, Jesus Christ. Who uses a start menu besides your grandmother? Everybody who uses a computer, everybody uses a Windows computer with any realm of skill whatsoever has the apps or the desktop applications that they use most pinned to the goddamn taskbar and they alt-tab between everything.
See, I don't know. I've always operated with the... I simply, if there's any setting or any program I ever want to launch, I hit the Windows key, I type in the name, and I hit enter, and I'm on my way. And that is it's faster than clicking on a desktop icon that would clutter my desktop or a taskbar icon that would clutter my taskbar. So I understand, though, that it's probably a very small percentage of people that do that.
You can still do that.
You can still do that. You can still do that in Windows 8. It's out.
I can. It just brings me to another screen in which I have to click then up at the top right, system settings or applications, depending upon the category. And then I can go to my application that I want and hit enter. So it's just an extra step.
I think you're doing it wrong.
Look, there's a reason it's just an option that is offered. You run Windows 7 if you like it. You run Windows 8 if you're Paul.
I think people need to grow the fuck up.
All right. Here's one.
You know what? It's these same fucking assholes. Pardon my French, Hodson. I'm about to dirty up your show altogether, right? But it's these same fucking can't get their heads out of their arses and evolve people who are keeping XP alive. Right? I mean, there was an announcement about IE7. Not IE7, IE11, and it being cross-platform and all the stuff that was going to be in it cross-platform. And one of the very first fucking tweets I saw on it is it going to be available for Windows XP?
I remember you.
Shoot me now.
Okay, here's one I want your reactions to.
I have strong feelings about this. I'm sorry.
Yes, you do, which is okay. If you got strong reactions about that or strong feelings, what about the fact that Microsoft is slashing the price of Windows to $0 for phone anything under 9 inches?
We said about 3 years ago on the Win Extra podcast that they need to be giving it away for free.
Yep.
And make their money off, applications that Office Store where they sell the applications for the operating system. So I really don't think they've gone far enough. It should just be free.
I have to ask, is this going to result in, obviously it's going to be a decrease in cost for the manufacturer, because these are devices where you can't just freely install an operating system, so it comes the way that it comes from the manufacturer. But is this going to result in a price cut for the consumer?
Probably not, because that's in the hands of the phone manufacturers.
What will result in is a much larger selection of low-cost devices.
Yeah.
Because manufacturers will be freer to take the chance with lower-cost devices. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to have the overhead of the Windows license.
It'll lead to a lot more phones like the Nokia 520, which off contract is $199 and is a more than acceptable phone for the majority of people. More than acceptable. And you're not stuck with
away free, period, and make their money on selling, high quality software that runs on it. And yeah.
Okay, the other one that came out today, again, we're sticking with Microsoft, is that they've open sourced a big chunk of the .NET framework. It's open source.
Okay.
I'm just kind of curious. Like, David, I know that you work within the open source area, right?
Mostly.
Yes. What's your reaction to that kind of news? Like
anything that was previously closed that goes open source is a good thing. I don't care what it is. I mean, it could be something as simple as the piracy app we were talking about a couple weeks ago, or something as large as .NET, but it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in transparency, but especially when it comes to software like that.
Yeah, but the problem with this is, right, it's a good thing that they open source large portions of it, but they never open source the portions we really need.
That's the thing. I don't know the details about what has actually gone on.
It was just announced this afternoon. I think that's a late addition to the show notes.
This isn't anything unusual for Microsoft. They've been open sourcing code for years. They have a site dedicated to it, don't they?
As Codeplex.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the Build conference, they did a big show of punching the button on the Codeplex site that turned on the downloads available for the open source code.
Yay!
But no,
it's a thunderous applause. I'm
no,
sure.
But here's the thing. This is a company that has gotten so maligned for so many years over stuff that they've done. They've been called monopolistic, which, okay, maybe they were at some sort at some point. But in the past 5 years, or maybe a little bit more, they have been contributing to Linux. They've been contributing to all kinds of open source projects. They've been putting stuff, a lot of their stuff are showing up on Codeplex open source. I don't think they deserve half the stuff that they're getting slammed for anymore. I really don't. And I don't think it's fair.
You never have for as long as I've known you.
What?
I said, and you never have for as long as I've known you.
I've slammed Microsoft when I think they deserve it.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Fair enough.
Well, that killed that conversation.
It was meant to.
Oh.
I've heard that rant like 600 times from you.
Shut up.
Microsoft don't deserve the shit that they're getting. Yeah, and most of these companies don't deserve the shit they're getting hit with. Because fanboys are the ones that are hitting them with the shit most of the time.
It's always that vocal minority in tech. It really is.
Getting back to the whole, Windows free on less than 9-inch and the whole lot. You know what? Microsoft needs to just give the operating system away, right? Or at least charge dick all for it, and put their developer tools out there and charge dick all for them, right?
You think
Absolutely.
We might see that with the new CEO?
No.
They make too much money. They make too much money in licensing to do that. I mean, even if they just kept the promo pricing for Windows 8 when it first launched, it was
$49.
$49. That is perfectly reasonable for Windows 8.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And that gave you a pack of 4. That gave you actually you can install that edition on 4 computers.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I think mine was a single use. It always bitches me about activating. I have to do the telephone activation.
Or maybe I'm thinking of the Office 360. Anyway,
Office 365 is for 5 machines.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, because you can go in and you can actually remove one machine from your list and add another one. Anyway, okay, let's get this. We're getting near the end here.
Yeah.
Your picks for the week there, David. iTunes, what?
Yes. What? Okay, so I am of the peasants that use iOS for their mobile OS of choice. But for this one, iOS 7 really screwed over the music player. And if you listen to a band that has a lot of live albums or a lot of albums, period, that are sorted by date, right now, when you scroll past them all, you have to scroll past every single album and every single song to scroll. There's no just album list. So what this app is it's called Lagu, Lagu, completely free. And it basically, all it does is retool the music app so it works just like it did in iOS 6, which is awesome.
Cool.
Paul, what do you got for us?
It's an oldie but a goodie. Tight VNC is one of my favorite VNC clients. The reason I love it is because,
it's tight.
Instead of going out and buying like a full-on media PC and stuff, because I'm a cheap bastard, I'll put like just a standard Windows machine underneath my TV, and then I will use Tight VNC to VNC into it. And it's not like RDP where, you go in and only one user can be in at a time or whatever on a standard Windows box. You can VNC in, you can control everything, you can, start your movies, you can watch everything, do everything you can as if you were physically right there. Also means if you set your router up properly or set up listening or whatever, you can do it like when you're in the office or whatever the case may be. But Tight VNC also has a rather nifty Android client called Ripple, which works really, really well. And I've only tried it on the Nexus 7 and the Nexus 4, but it works really, really well. It's a sweet interface. So if you're doing anything where you need remote access to your PC, but you don't want to go down the RDP line for all the obvious problems that come along with RDP, Tight VNC is a sweet way to go.
Especially with Log Me In Free going away. It's a good pick.
Log Me In Free is going away, but what is it? Yeah, Log Me In Free is going away. Oh, did you see during the week? The meeting client is now free.
Go to Meeting?
Go to Meeting. It's a free client for 3 people now. It only runs in Chrome.
Didn't know that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I came across it during the week. It's GoToMeeting free. Let me check it out here.
While you're doing that, I'll pass on mine. It's a little bit of an older one. But if you're looking for a VPN or virtual private network service, the one that I like probably the most is Pro XPN. And the nice thing about it is it's easy on resources. It's easy to set up. It's drop dead simple, and it works really, really well. Plus, if you use the bonus code that will be in this post, you can get 20% off your monthly amount for the life you have a contract, or not that you use their service. So I think it's $7.99. You can apply the promo code and you get 20% off. So it works out to about $5 per month.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just dropped the link for that into the show note. It's free.gotomeeting.com for GoToMeeting free. It only runs in Chrome at the moment. They do say it's going to come to other browsers, but I assume it's because they're relying on some Chrome functionality. But you just go in there, you click start the meeting, you share the URL that it generates for you with whoever, and you have the full sort of GoToMeeting experience for up to 3 people with video and audio and all that sort of crap.
Alrighty. One of the things I want to do is our listeners, if you've got any really cool things, cool geeky toys, software, hardware, toys, doesn't matter. If it appeals to you as a geek, share it with us. send the information to feedback@geekdimensions.com, and we'll take a look at it. We'll share it. Send it to us on Twitter, Geek Dimensions. Send it on Facebook, Geek Dimensions. Anywhere you go, Geek Dimensions. Just look for us. We're there. You can also get the show on iTunes, Stitcher, RSS feed from the site. You name it, we're getting it there for you, so you can get it wherever you are. But on that note, Paul, any last words for our listeners?
Not really, just enjoy it. You know what I mean? If you're not enjoying what you do something else.
Yes, I like that. Paul, David, anything from you?
Well said. Check us out at Geek Dimensions.
Alrighty. On that note, folks, we'll call this show to a close. We'll see you next week. But until then, remember, keep it geek. You have been listening to the Geek Dimensions On Air podcast with Stephen Hodson, Paul O'Flaherty, and David Gall. You can send any feedback about this or any of our other episodes to feedback@geekdimensions.com or by leaving a comment on the post. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus as Geek Dimensions. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, and podcastpedia.org, or you can use our RSS feed for the show. The music used in the show is Metro by Sleep Thief. The On Air podcast is the official podcast of Geek Dimensions and everyone living a geek's life.